when you join a company that's about to IPO, that is, when times are great. It's really exciting. The company's doing really well. But maybe let's talk about when things aren't so easy. There's maybe
Hmm.
some volatility and some chaos going around you. A lot of treasurers are thinking about that right now, right? With the tariffs. In the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of FX volatility. We've seen bank collapse. Can you share a standout crisis moment for you in your last few years and how you handled it?
Yeah. This really takes patience, research, and readiness at all times, right? Because the macro environment, as you said, shifts constantly. And a lot of times there are implications for Treasury, whether it's cash, investments, foreign exchange. The probably most pivotal point when this hit us was the SVB, bank crisis. And I had to move quickly, stealthily, and with conviction to reduce our cash exposure from 46% to 3% on the day of the rumor. And an interesting time because I had to make a game day decision without calling board and like the CFO and just like make the decision, go for it, inform leadership after, and explain the rationale behind it while you're trying to keep them updated, but you just have to make the decision and go. And thankfully we did. And everything turned out great for that bank too, which is wonderful. But yeah, that was probably the moment when I was like, okay, this is going to hit us. I need to make a decision. Here's how much exposure we have. What are my options? Execute and notify the important people as you're doing it because you just ain't got time to, to think about it.
Yeah, it's so interesting because a lot of time in corporate, we're so used to that bureaucracy, right? Like,
Hmm.
okay, I've got to talk to all my stakeholders. We're going to have a few meetings. We'll have some emails. We're going to all make a decision together. Then we'll iterate on the decision and they'll finally act on it.
Yeah.
And in this scenario, it's just you, right? And
Yeah.
you've got to be the hero. I mean, how do you stay calm during this moment and not feel that pressure?
You have to remind yourself you're not a brain surgeon. There's no patient on the operating table with their lives in your hands, right? We just simply do the best we can do and pivot and solve on the fly. By the way, kudos to brain surgeons because I don't know how they do it with, or anyone in the healthcare space, us finance folks, probably wouldn't be able to handle that situation. But we just remind ourselves it's a problem we can solve, stay calm, find a solution, and go with conviction. There is no time to waver in some of these, and sometimes there is time to set out a good plan or process. But it's not brain surgery, right? No one's going to get hurt by this. You want to do the right thing for the company, and you do the best you can do.
Yeah, and it sounds like you did the right thing.
Got lucky.
Yeah, got very lucky. You were the hero of this story. I know Treasury is extremely tight knit. It's a niche space, as we've talked about. There's only so many companies that need a treasurer. There's only so many treasurers in the world. What does the community look like when these moments happen? I'm sure you've got friends in this world that aren't working at your companies. Are you guys just picking up the phone and being like, what are you doing right now?
That is what happened. Honestly, it was quite fascinating. My phone was blowing up from anybody that was in my network. Hey, what are you doing? What should I do? Steph, I don't have a bank in the US. Should I move all my money abroad? Like I don't have a place to put it. What do I do? So there is a tight network. You have to put yourself out there, even when you're busy, to build strong networks. It's really, really important. You'll never be an expert at everything, right? And you will need people to bounce ideas off. Part of the challenge during this crisis in particular was a little bit of the guilt I felt that, like, gosh, if I move my money, I'm actually contributing to the demise of a bank.
Yeah.
Like I'm one of those people that is going to make this bank crumble if I take all the money I have there out today, right? But I have to keep my business mindset on and just move. And so several people that reached out to me that day, I just said, this is what I'm doing. You do you, boo. I'm getting my money out, right? Because it's really important for our business and thankfully I have another US bank I can flip the money to, because I set the infrastructure in place. I had the diversification options, the opportunity.
Yeah. That's like the hard lesson that so many people learned after this, right? And
Yeah.
you were proactive in, taking diversification seriously. But now, I mean, if you tell a treasurer you've got, all your money and then one bank, like they'll look at you like you're crazy, right? So
Yeah.
it's really wild, like how the big historic moments, they kind of shape how the future of our individual careers evolve.
Well, yeah, when you're a startup, there's not always a lot of banks wanting to even do business with you, right? So you have to be scrappy and find a good partner. And in this situation, SVB was an amazing partner. Still to this day love my relationship managers. They were so supportive during our whole startup journey. And that's why it pained me to pull that trigger that day and know that, some people's careers are going to be impacted by this, and like all of these years we spent building this relationship and creating this, is all going to change in a flip of a switch. Right. So yeah, but it's important to be ready.
Yeah, it's important to be ready. But I think, the human empathy is nice in the workplace. And
Yeah.
it's nice to admit that you felt that, and a reminder that we're all kind of thinking about each other, even though we're doing our job first, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are the parallels in how you coach your clients on the fitness end, and then how you lead your global teams in a treasury context?
Yeah. Progress over perfection, I would say. It takes a lot of patience to see progress in fitness, right? You set a goal and it doesn't happen overnight. It takes some time to get there. I would say the same is true for building a strong team, right? You have to be able to give and get feedback. You have to push them hard at times, and you have to stretch them often to support one another. So I would say progress over perfection. And, we try to fail fast in our business and avoid being slow because we're trying to be perfect. But I would say that would be number one. Number two would be proper form matters.
I love that.
I personally can give you a 3-pound weight and make it the hardest decisive curl you've ever done if you do it right and you're flexing that muscle and focusing on the right area. You don't need a 50-pound weight, right? And so, on the business side, taking the time to do things the right way, even if you have to pause for a minute and reset, is more important than just getting it done, just getting through the workout, just getting through the project. And then last but not least would be rest and recovery. I think your physical body needs rest after a hard workout, and I think your brain does too, right? When you're in that complex Excel model, you're tagging your transaction in a new tool. Sometimes you need to stop, take a breath from the spreadsheet, and create space for some rest. Avoid burnout and just allow your body to recover both physically and mentally.